Today I'm going to show you my top 15 budget drop points with fidget action that is just ridiculous. And some of the stuff is even new to the channel, so you'll be seeing it here for the very first time. And as usual, links to buy and any coupon codes will all be listed down in the description. Hey, how you doing? If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Jay. Go ahead and consider clicking on that subscribe if you're looking for knife reviews. They get right to the point. Starting us off at number 15, I've got from Sanrenmu. This is the Land962. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't look like it is a clone of anything. So I think that this really is an original design. And you know, their version of the axis lock, it's always been pretty good. So there's no really any concerns there. And that action though, oh yeah, that is like nice and smooth. And that was doing it right out of the box. Number 14 is coming at us from Harns. This is the time. This has a lot of the features that I'm looking for when I go to buy a knife, like, well, the multiple deployment options. You can see the flipper tab or the thumb hole. You get a really nice, generous forward finger choil. And, oh yeah, it's got a deep carry pocket clip, one position, so I know. And insane drop shot action. Now, unfortunately, unlike the Sanrenmu Land, the blade to handle ratio here is, well, it's way off. And these scales, the G10 scales, they almost feel as if, I don't know, like that they're unfinished. Number 13, I've got the CH3504. I know I've said it before, but man, that blade shape, I'm just in love with, and I have been for a long time. Do any of you remember there was a mini version of this knife in, I think it was like AUS 8 or something like that. I mean, I sure do, because that decision to get rid of it, I didn't hold on to it. Yeah, it still haunts me today. I mean, that has to be my biggest knife regret ever. Actually, that'd be a pretty good question. What's your biggest knife regret? You know, just a knife that you kick yourself like every day for getting rid of. Go ahead and just sound off down in the comments. Number 12, from IKIV, that's the G02. And doesn't that blade shape, it just kind of reminds me of the blade that you can see here on my Kershaw link. I really like their version of the axis lock. I think that those Omega springs, I'm just laughing at that action because of how good it is. Well, the springs, like they must be pretty good quality because they're kind of stiff. So when I'm like releasing the lock, it doesn't feel spongy, you know, if that makes sense. And at about 2.3 millimeters, it has the exact same blade thickness as the Benchmade Bug Out. So yeah, you can say this cut's really good. Number 11, how about from Bestek? That's the Lion. If this wasn't a budget list, I think that I would have picked the Circuit that you can see over here with the red scales over the Lion, because basically it's a thinner version with nested liners, and it even has more of like a finger choil area, where here on the Lion you can see it's strictly just a sharpening choil. The Circuit also has like an added, you can see that added thumb hole, even though, you know, as a lefty, because I mean, look at that, look how close it is up to the scale. So I'm actually not even able to make use of that thumb hole, but you know, for righties, of course, there's a little bit more room, so you might be able to. I know this one's going to make a lot of you happy. At number 10, how about the Rake P801? I mean, this has to be like one of the more popular budget knives that are out there today. And of course, the action is, well, it's excellent using either that flipper tab, or you can go ahead and use the thumb studs just as easy. Very solid, like a frame lock design and a very slim build. So it's really nice to carry. How about number 9? The Free Tiger FT903. I can't believe that it's been a year, I know, already since I first introduced this knife. And I gotta tell you, I still love it just as much now as I did back then. It has like a really kind of a ganzo-ish feel to it, which means it's probably made by the same OEM. The action in both directions is, it's definitely the main attraction here on this knife. Number 8. Ooh, how about QSP? That's the Hawk. I think that making a budget version of this in that Sandvik 14C 28N blade steel was like one of the smartest moves on QSP's part. Because now that version comes in micarta scales, and it is still like half as much as this S35VN version. I usually do prefer like just using the flipper tab on most of my knives, but I really do. I like the thumb stud action here. Oh, and really quick, if you're liking the video so far, go ahead and let me know by just giving it a thumbs up. Number 7, how about from Suncut? That's a Scepter. Out of all the knives that I've tried with a sub 3-inch blade, this has the absolute best action in both directions. Oh, yeah. Look, if you get the chance to go ahead and pick one of these up, I promise you, you will not regret it. And have you seen that knife that is going to be releasing pretty soon? It's called the Upshot, okay? And it is just like a larger, much more expensive frame lock version of this knife. And man, do I need to get that thing. Number 6, from Kuby, this is the Victory KU219. Oh, and have you noticed that Kuby they're now starting to like name their knives instead of just going by like that number designation? I'm a big fan of that. If you look really close, you can see that this does actually have 2 deployment options. So there's the flipper, and then of course you see that little like triangle indentation. And yeah, it does appear on both sides of that blade. Although I'm having a really tough time like using that little triangle for anything other than doing, like a slow roll with the blade, because when it's closed, I don't know, at least on the left side, it's way too close to the scale, and it's darn near impossible for me to get at. Not a huge deal, especially when you have a blade that is good looking as this one is. Oh, I almost forgot the pocket clip. That's titanium. All right, number 5, from Ganzo Firebird, this is the F760. This was the toughest choice that I had to make because of all the other Ganzos that I have that really do deserve a spot on this list. Like, well, for example, the FH41, love it. How about the FH91? And then we got the newer FH921. Oh, and of course, we can't forget about the FH11, 12, or 13. Honestly, I think it's their G-Lock, which kind of pushed this model like over the top for me. It's just a lot, a heck of a lot more fun to carry than a standard liner lock. Number 4, from Cinevine, man, I don't know, but it's the ST102. And I guess that you guys really like this one because both versions, because there's this one with the black G10 or the natural G10 scales, they're both currently out of stock. So, hey, congrats to those of you that were able to get your hand on one. One thing I got to bring up is that if this knife, if it also had, thumb studs to go along with that flipper tab, this knife would be near perfection for me. Number 3, how about the Cevi Praxis? This is the only knife that I know of with a name that it kind of sounds like a prescription drug, doesn't it? I did consider for a minute having the Brigand in this spot and the newer Badlands Vagabond, but I just decided to go ahead and I had to stick with the girl that I brought to the dance. Number 2, how about the Honey Badger in D2? Without question, this is one of my all-time favorite drop point blade shapes. Oh, and the action, I mean, come on. The action is, well, it's just legendary. I love the fact that not only do we get like we get three different blade sizes to choose from, but also there's two different types of steels, the 8CR, the D2. Now, before I go ahead and show you my number one, I would love to know what are some of your favorite, like, 5, 10, 15, however many you got, but drop points that just have that ridiculously good fidget action. Let us know in the comments. All right, you ready to see it? Number one, this can't be a surprise to anybody. How about the CJRB Feldspar? And hey, I'm sure by now you guys are just tired of seeing this knife on the channel, but hey, I got to call it as I see it. I mean, there were just so many things that CJRB and Artisan Cutlery that they did right. Like all the planets aligned when they made this thing. Up on the screen is a video I picked out for you to go ahead and watch next. And don't forget to go ahead and click on that subscribe. Hey, thanks for watching. And I love you guys, and I will see you at the next video. Take care. See you later.